Have you seen the people wearing these dumb Apple things? Apple's come out with goggles, and they're goggles. You put them on your head, and I think there's audio associated with it, and it covers up half your face, and they cost $3,500 plus $200 for a battery pack. But here's the promise: is if you spend a lot of money and you put these dumb-looking goggles on your face, you get to live inside a cell phone. Do you ever think in your modern life, you think, I just don't look at enough screens. I wish I could spend more time. I wish my phone were more immersive and I didn't have to look at, this beautiful earth and sky that God gave to us to live in real life in our flesh. I wish I could just ignore all that so I could be on my cell phone more. Well, then, have I got the product for you? It's the Apple Vision Pro. Some guy just got pulled over for driving. It was a Tesla, so I guess it was a self-driving car, but he was driving with his Apple goggles on. And the video starts out all sort of nice. He's not touching the steering wheel. It looks like he's casting a magic spell of sorts because he's typing onto the air. So it actually kind of looks like he's Jordan Peterson, like he's doing one of these things with his hands, man. But he's not, but without any of the wisdom, without any of the insightful observations. And then it immediately cuts to the guy gets pulled over by a police officer. C.S. Lewis observed in The Great Divorce that the people who are in hell want to be there. Hell is a place that you choose. Hell is where you go by your own desire, because you do not turn your desire and behavior toward God. You turn it in the other direction, and you get what you want. That's the amazing thing about freedom, whether we follow it in a proper way or we abuse it, is you tend to get what you want. If you told not just George Orwell, but Aldous Huxley in the early to mid 20th century, if you said, hey, in the future, people are going to be so addicted to screens and to constant titillation and to just buzzes and alarms and a ton of porn, by the way, that at a certain point, they're going to block out their own vision. They're going to choose to put these goggles on and blur out the real world so that they can watch sports and porn all day, even while they're driving. Huxley would believe you. George Orwell would think that would be imposed by a tyrannical totalitarian government. Huxley was smarter, though, because while George Orwell in 1984 believes that our loss of freedom is going to come through the heavy hand of the state, Aldous Huxley in Brave New World recognizes, no, it's going to be the carrot, not the stick. He recognizes, no, it's going to be the enticement. It's going to be the temptation to all sorts of low pleasures and to all sorts of vices. That's what's going to get us. It's going to be drugs and sex and promiscuity and just physical pleasure. And that's what's going to happen. I can think of no product that I would less enjoy than the Apple Vision Pro. But a lot of people are going to buy this thing. It's expensive, so that is naturally going to limit who can buy it. But a lot of people are going to desire this thing, that's for sure. And they're going to live in virtual reality, which they have convinced themselves is more beautiful and interesting than reality. But it's not. And this, by the way, this is in part why we have the because people just no longer value the physical world. They only value the virtual and digital world in which a man can really become a woman because their bodies don't matter. But I still prefer the physical world. And I would encourage you not to voluntarily plug yourself into the matrix where you can watch football and pornography all day long. Speaking of our changing political order, sad news coming out of the UK. This is news about which most Americans will not care, but I do care, actually. His Majesty King Charles III has been diagnosed with cancer. King Charles, just became king. His mother reigned for 70 years, and then he ascended to the throne when she died, and he was just crowned, a year or two ago? And he went in for a routine kind of prostate procedure, which men of a certain age virtually all undergo. And while they were in there, they found that he had some kind of cancer, non-prostate cancer, some other kind of cancer. The Buckingham Palace has not been totally clear about what cancer that is. And I just think we ought to pray for King Charles. I know we broke away from those limeys back in 1776. I know some Catholics don't really like the Windsors because they're Protestant or what. Okay, sure. But some conservatives don't like King Charles because they say he's a World Economic Forum environmentalist stooge or what. Because he divorced his wife. I know all the litany of charges against King Charles. Nevertheless, that man is, I think by his inclination, but certainly by his office, one of the most traditionalist and conservative people left on the face of the earth. Even King Charles's environmentalism is very, very conservative because he's not an environmentalist in the way that your lesbian cousin is an environmentalist. You know, your lesbian vegan cousin with silly colored hair who shows up to Thanksgiving and yells at you for eating turkey. That's not the kind of environmentalist King Charles is. King Charles is the kind of environmentalist who wants to protect the woodlands on his property so he can continue to hunt foxes. And that's extremely conservative. King Charles is the kind of environmentalist who believes we need to protect the world, so that the natural world, so that we can continue to enjoy it because it's beautiful and old and traditional. He's the kind of environmentalist who likes the environment because he opposes rampant liberal capitalism and industrialization. That's very conservative. That's very, very traditional. The British Crown is one of the few remaining, even quasi-conservative institutions in the world. And so anyway, that's my long rant and diatribe to pray for King Charles, because even though we Americans, we think who cares about the British Crown? Even plenty of people in the UK say, oh, whatever, get rid of the crown. You will miss that institution if it ever goes away. You will miss it because there will be a lot of dignity that will disappear. There will be unlearned knowledge that just kind of gets passed down through the generations as a matter of heredity. It will disappear, and you will miss it when it's gone. There is a great new bill being put forward by a House Republican that every House Republican should get behind. The Republicans in the House, they're doing a good job right now. They're killing that dumb immigration bill, and now they are proposing the FACE Act repeal. This is coming by way of Congressman Chip Roy, and I think it's absolutely great, and every Republican should back Chip Roy's plan. The FACE Act was a law signed by Bill Clinton in 1994. It's the Freedom of Access to Clinic Entrances Act. It was a way to protect abortion clinics from criticism. Because in the 90s, the libs claimed that the poor beleaguered abortionists, the poor baby murderers were being threatened too much. And so we had to figure out a way to stop people from threatening them. But it wasn't really just about threats. The FACE Act very quickly became weaponized to stop conservatives from peaceful protests, peaceful demonstrations. You're seeing pro-lifers being prosecuted and sent to prison for more than a decade for this sort of thing right now. And it was controversial at the time, so the liberals gave the conservatives a bone, and they said, okay, well, in the FACE Act, we'll also stop people from intimidating churchgoers. We'll stop people from vandalizing churches. Joe Biden has not prosecuted one of these cases, a FACE Act case against someone attacking a church. That just doesn't happen. It was bogus. It was a total distraction. This act is about the Protecting Baby Murderers from Criticism Act. That's what you could call it. And so Chip Roy, very wisely and very courageously, just came out and said, let's repeal this stupid thing. And I absolutely think it's a great idea. And I rarely get on my soapbox on this show and say, call your congressman. But when it comes to the FACE Act repeal, call your congressman. Tag your congressman. If you're watching this on YouTube, tag your congressman on YouTube. If you're watching this on Twitter, or on X, tag your congressman. If you're watching this on Daily Wire Plus, send this link around. This is a great bill. Every Republican should get behind this. And it's an urgent matter because people are being prosecuted under this stupid law, this FACE Act, right now. And good people are going to prison for having the courage to stand up for the most defenseless among us. Call your congressman. Man, what a great clip that was. Now, hold up. Wait. Hold on. Ring that bell. Subscribe to the Michael Knowles YouTube channel. We'll see you next time.